HIRAM Kimathi claims that he refused to go and transfer to Todonyang, because he had received information that upon arrival in Todonyang, he was to be eliminated. There are many uploads that I record when people ask for my view. But in this particular one, I took it as a personal initiative to react to it with my experience. With my experience, I think I am qualified to say something about it. I have an experience in Northeastern Province, in the operation areas, both North Rift and Northeastern. Out of my mother's 3 sons, one has never worked anywhere until he's now over 60. But the 2 of us have worked in both sides of the operation area. I have cousins. In English, they are called cousins, but in African, they are called brothers. Because somebody whose parents were siblings of your parents, especially in the African language, if my father and your father were siblings, in African language, you are my sibling. In African languages, if your mother and my mother were siblings, you are my sibling. It is only when children of a sister and children of a brother meet that is when in African sense those are cousins. So I can say that very close relatives, in Sheng we call them cousin brother, ama cousin sister. This meaning that we are combining, whereby in English you are my cousin, but in African languages you are my sibling. That's why in Sheng they call it cousin brother or cousin sister. We have several of them who have worked in operation area. I have kids who are my nephews, and they work in operation area. I have worked in operation area as a general duty police officer, and I have worked in operation area as an intelligence officer. I think I am fit to talk about it. I will elaborate on my relatives and my own experience in those areas after I have responded to HIRAM Kimathi's allegation that the plan was for him to arrive in Todonyang and be killed. I doubt that. 1. 2, for over 50 years, I am used to hearing that. For over 50 years, when a police officer is transferred to Northeastern, a police officer who is not a gazetted officer. I have never heard of gazetted officers, they had their ways of handling things, which at my level, maybe I didn't know. But police officers, I have heard that for over 50 years. And it happens like this. A police officer disagrees with his bosses. I'll give the examples. A police officer disagrees with his officers, with his seniors. He is transferred to operation area immediately after he disagrees with his senior officers. He refuses to go there, resigns or deserts work, and later on says that there was a plan that I arrive there and I be shot dead. I don't know what can stop. I've seen so many police officers being killed in the CBD, the capital CBD. There are things that are organized, and I pray God that one day my book comes out. We have had cases where it is even in the Bible. I'm not very good in the Bible, but I remember in the Bible, a king sent his general deliberately to the war front so that he be killed. That one happens, and it is happening, and it will happen. That even in the CBD, if your boss wants you to be killed. A very good example was recently during the GNC. What would stop police officers from one of them being told to shoot the other, and then later they say that it was by bad luck during the confrontation with GNC? Yeah, a senior police officer finds it a bit easier to have you killed in the CBD Nairobi than in Todonyang. Why am I saying so? Let me give an example to people in Kawangware. You are in Kawangware stage 2, 20 police officers, and there are 30 bandits at a place called Mau Mau Bridge. You are shooting at each other. That is the nearest distance that the bandits in operation area go near police officers. But in Nairobi, you can be told to go through the alleys, Panya routes or whatever in the CBD, and somebody shoots you with a gun that will never be recovered. So they say they don't know whether it was a police officer or those gangsters they were chasing or something. It is very many times easier for a senior police officer to kill a junior officer within urban areas than in places like Todonyang. Because Todonyang, you shoot at the bandits from a distance, the same distance as from Nyayo Stadium to Nyayo House. So chances of one of you turning against you, the others will see. But in Nairobi, you go to those vichochoro, you are told to follow a gangster into a certain kichochoro, whereas there are police detectives waiting for you, they shoot you there. That is my opinion. HIRAM Kimathi should be congratulated for coming out boldly and referring to issue. I'll never get tired of saying so. And even after being transferred to those areas, I was transferred to the same area, 1987. I'll come to that. There are ways of handling that. And if you can't handle it, the best way is you go there. HIRAM Kimathi has privileges that police constables of 80s did not have. His case has come to the press. Now, can you tell me of any police officer in 1990s or 1980s who could face the same problems that HIRAM was facing from Machakos and even police officers in Kitui? No. HIRAM's case is known worldwide. Everywhere in the world they know about it. But in the 80s and 90s, even a fellow police officer in Kitui cannot know what was happened to Hiram in Machakos. It is also a bit painful because was he working on a roadblock? Now he's being transferred to Todonyang. Enough said about that. So, as I've said, and I'll continue saying, that he did good, and once he has said that, he should have kept quiet. He should have kept quiet. When I was transferred to Todonyang, yes, I was transferred to Todonyang in 1987. This is what I did. I was working, I've already recorded, but I'll repeat it. I was not in good terms with my boss, Chief Inspector Wanambisi Simiyu. And then there was a constable, a fellow constable called Jackson Cheseto. His son had gotten A minus, A minus, A minus. That is 33 points in standard 7, and he was called to Chewoyet High School, and he died. And people said that a neighbor had talked something bad. That is why in some areas in Kenya, you don't talk something bad about somebody. Somebody said even intellectuals die, and the boy died mysteriously. Sudden sickness, and he died. So people said that it must have been that man who bewitched Cheseto's son. And Cheseto transfer had come to occupy, to be the intelligence officer in charge of Elmi Triangle. Elmi Triangle, part of Southern Sudan that is administered in Kenya. And then Jamin Wanambisi Simiyu decided that I replace him. And he talked to the province and said that they should be sympathetic with him since he has a funeral. And the person who had said something bad about the son had been lynched. So he was still handling a murder case, a lynching case. And the boss was told, can you look for another constable to go there? Jamin Wanambisi Simiyu said that I was volunteering to go to Elmi Triangle, of which Todonyang is part of it, to be the intelligence officer there. By good luck, there was another signal for people below the rank of inspector who wanted to go to transfer to Northeastern, and I applied. So that one, my transfer to Todonyang was coming from the province. My transfer from Todonyang to Todonyang area, that is Elmi Triangle, which included Todonyang, Kimathi, and everywhere, was from the province, Rift Valley province. But the one from Nyati House, Nairobi, the national head office, was for me to be transferred to Northeastern. So that one superseded. There was somebody, a constable called Andrew. I can't recall the second name. Andrew is the one now who was taken to Elmi on my behalf. So these things have been happening, and even hearing people saying the plan was I arrive there immediately, I am transferred, then I be killed. That is exactly what he's saying. And that is exactly, and I'm mentioning names so that people have never said I manufacture stories, but I'm just saying that to emphasize. There's a time I was employed in a company called Frontier International Limited Security Company as the company investigator. One time, now, the company later rebranded to Georgia's Security. I don't know whether it still has the name or anything, or if the directors are still the same. But Jonas Mulavu, the CEO, one time told me the same wording, the same wording, and I later talked to his supervisors, those who are working under me. I told I laughed it off. That cost me my job. I didn't know. I thought maybe my story would just end there, but he was told. This is what Jonas Mulavu told me. Jonas Mulavu was the OCS Kamukunji police station. He was the OCS in Kamukunji police station, and he was never on good terms with his OCPD, Central Police Station. So one time, there was a house which was burning within Kamukunji police station area, and a report was made to the OCPD's place. OCPD, because he was not on good terms with the OCS Kamukunji, rang him and told him, I talked to him on radio call. Those days we did not have mobile phones. He called him on the radio set and told him asked him what was happening. He said everything was okay. He told him, get out of your office and look around. He got out of his office. He didn't see anything. But what the OCPD had received, the information the OCPD had received, was that a house was burning, and the house which was burning, you could see it from within Kamkunji police station. So one thing added to another, and then it happened that the OCPD went to the police headquarters, and Jonas Mulavu was transferred from being the OCS Kamkunji police station to be the OCS Moyale police station. As he was preparing to go, actually he was not even preparing to go. What happened was that there was the August 82 coup attempt. And the transfers out of Nairobi was stopped. After the coup attempt eased a few months later, the transfer was forgotten. So Mulavu was telling me that there was a plan for him once he reaches Moyale. I don't know whether it's Moyale or Marsabit. Once he arrives there, he was to be shot dead. That is something that I had in the last century, 19 what? But now I'm being told that it happened even when HIRAM Kimathi was not born. I said so many people have heard that. And again, I've remembered. Let me tell you something. Since time immemorial, since when I can remember, any police officer who has been transferred, I don't know about other professions, maybe, but any police officer who has been transferred to operation area has always been told, I'm taking you there to be killed. Just like any police officer who is sacked, including me, we were told, we are sacking you because you know how to handle a gun, you will become a crook, and you'll end up with a bullet in your heart. So many police officers who were transferred to Northeastern or operation area in the 70s, 80s, and 90s used to be told, I'm transferring. It was part of talking. Whether there was an organized plan to kill him or not, I don't know. But I can say without even a second thought, I do not know any person who has been set up and killed in that fashion. The only thing I would say is that they used to go there with low morale. Nimeletwa huku kuuawa. They would go there with low morale. They would go there without going through GSU. You know, we went through GSU. They imagine a person Kiganjo is an academy. 80% of work is class work, studying law, criminal procedure, penal, vitu kama hiyo, traffic act, sijui nini. Do you teach a GSU or anti-stock theft fellow about roadblocks? In Magadi GSU training school, 90% is you are carrying heavy loads, as heavy as your body, running up and down, so forth, so on and so forth. So such a person who has gone through Magadi, he goes to operation area. If you compare that one with somebody with a tummy like a pregnant woman who is in a roadblock, being taken to a place like that, if there is a contact with the criminals, I can tell you there is no guess on who will be killed. So that one could also be a contributory factor. Now I have talked about that. Let me now talk about my family connection to operation area. Let me start with the first person in our family who went to operation area. That is my father, the late Japheth Lando. Or if you want to, you can call him Lando, son of Huatenge. I am Huatenge, son of Lando. Now, Lando, son of Huatenge, senior, because I have a son called that, worked in Isiolo, 1967, a bit of 1966 and 1967. He was an assistant superintendent of police, staffing officer administration. That is the third most, the person in charge of administration is somebody who in the absence of the boss, either the boss or the deputy, whoever is absent, the officer in charge of administration acts like the deputy. He has all the powers of a deputy except some authorities like AIE, he does not sign for them. He was the SOA Isiolo 1967 and a bit of 1966. Forget about other transfers. He went in 1971 and in 1972 in the rank of assistant superintendent police. He was the OCPD Wajir. Can we say that he was the county police commander Wajir 1971 and 1972? In 1966 and 67 he was in Isiolo. Now 71, 72 he was in Wajir. Overall police in Wajir. 1980 and 81 he was the provincial criminal investigation officer, Northeastern Province. What I mean is that Japheth Lando, son of Huatenge, was number 3 in Isiolo in 1967-68. And he was the overall police in the whole of Wajir 1971 and 1972. And he was the overall detective in Northeastern in 1981 and 1982. I have a brother. I have siblings. I have step siblings. Let me talk about my brother. My mother had 3 sons. One of them has never worked anywhere. And the 2 of us were police officers. I worked in those areas. My brother, my youngest brother, worked in Kacheliba, West Pokot. He worked in Moyale, and he was born in Wajir, 1972. He was born in Wajir when our father, or can I say when his father, or can I say my father, but I think our father is better, when our father was the overall police boss in Wajir. He was born in operation area. He worked in Kacheliba in West Pokot as a police officer, and he worked in Moyale as a police officer. Myself, when I was a recruit in Kiganjo, my father wrote to me a letter, gave it to some police officers who were coming to Kiganjo for some sporting activity. And in the letter, my father asked me to choose the place I want to be posted after completing college. I wrote back and said I wanted to be taken to railway police or Northeastern province. During my time, during my intake, less than 5 people were taken to railways. 2 were best all round. Those people who go to greet the president, they go to wherever they want. And there were some girls who went to railway police. So it was impossible for my father to take me to railway police. And remember, I told him, if I don't go to railway police, I want to go to Northeastern province. I was taken to Rift Valley. My father engineered while we had completed the course in GSU. My father engineered for me to be posted in Nakuru. I refused. Those who are employed with me will tell you that it was me who chose to go to work in West Pokot. And I stayed for a few months when my file was still hidden by my father. My father didn't want me to go to West Pokot when it was the most dangerous place at that time. After completing my work in West Pokot, I had not even completed. Jamin Wanambisi me wanted to take me to Elmi Triangle. And there was a signal for junior officers who wanted to go to Northeastern. I felt, let me tell you, my choosing to go to Mandera was not because I wanted to go to Mandera at that time or anything. It is because I wanted to cover my going to Elmi Triangle, which includes Todonyang. So I wrote a signal saying I want to go to Mandera, but I was posted to Wajir, and later on was transferred to Mandera. That is Lando's home. Lando, in the Huatenge family, we have so many people who are police officers. Lando had a brother, only one brother. He had several stepbrothers. There were 8. So he had 6 stepbrothers, but one brother. So his brother was called Andrew Kwalanda. Edward Kwalanda Huatenge, whom I can call Huatenge, son of Kwalanda, my namesake, was a police officer. He was working at a place called Macalda Mines. And he was transferred to a place called Kimathis. Kimathis is next to Todonyang. And it is worse than Todonyang. The way people are complaining about Todonyang is the way Todonyang people can complain when they are taken to Kimathis. He went and worked there, and he retired honorably from the police upon attaining 60 years. Lando had a stepbrother called Tondo. Tondo's son called Charles Mulanda. That is Tondo and Lando were stepbrothers, sons of Huatenge. Charles Mulanda, son, my first cousin, his father and my father were stepbrothers. Both were sons of Huatenge. Worked at Lodwar police station as a prosecutor. He was transferred to Nakuru Menengai area, where he died of natural causes. His death was, he was at a roadblock. He arrested somebody, a conductor from Matatu, from a bus. As they were alighting, you know how police officers arrest people. You you walk ahead of the police officer and he holds your belt from the back. So when they came out of the bus, Charles Mulanda Huatenge collapsed. When he collapsed, everybody now wanted to lynch the conductor. What have you done to this police officer? He said, no, I just saw him collapsing. Then he was taken to the cell suspected of killing the police officer. My cousin was taken to Nakuru General Hospital, Provincial General Hospital, where he died of a heart attack. It had nothing to do with his day. Imagine somebody fighting Morocos in Lodwa, coming to Nakuru, and he just collapses and dies. So being taken to operation area is not a death sentence. Who else in the Huateng? There are so many people in the Huateng. Charles Mulanda, his own child, is in the police. He has spent, is it 6 years in operation area? And the way I see that boy, he doesn't seem to be in a hurry to get out of operation area. So this thing about him saying that there were plans, there are so many people have heard of that. And I've said, I gave a very good example of Jonas Mulavu, who was the OCS Kamukunji, who said that his transfer was in May 1982 to Moyale or Marsabit. And I don't know whether he's still alive today or anything, but he must be very elderly. For somebody who was 55 years in 1998, was 55 years in 1998, he must be very old. 1998, those are 27 years ago, he was over 55. So he's somebody in his 90s or if not 80s. So you can see that thing has been there. This young man cheating people that there was a plan for him to be eliminated. Why eliminating? Just because he said, just because he said that the police should fall? No, no, no. As I recorded elsewhere, I say that he started off well. He should have maintained that. He should have even gone to Todonyang. He should even have gone to Todonyang. And I'm very sure that he would not have even completed a year there. You have seen even the OCS of where? There's an OCS who told Murkomen that any police officer whom they want to sack, they should not take those officers to operation area because of various reasons. Reason number one, these people should not be taken there because we have over 90% of people who are in Todonyang were not taken there on disciplinary grounds. Now, if your brother or sister is in Todonyang for reasons other than discipline, and you are told that people are being taken to Todonyang because of disciplinary, don't you think the names of those who are there on an ordinary transfer will not be affected? But then the OCS also said that there was a drunkard who was taken to his place, Ginyang, I think, was taken to Ginyang, Pokotland, because he was a drunkard. And he went to Ginyang, and as we talk, he's dead. Why don't you sack him from wherever he was, so that by now he should not be dead? As I said, these people, when they go there, they are very careless in a contact with the bandits, and then they end up dying, most of them, and that is why they say we are taken there to be killed. So it is good for everybody to know the truth, so that we get he should just have done that and gone. And if he would have gone, what I know is that civil society would have fought for him to be transferred out of that place to another place. But then what we are traffic and what we are roadblock, when they are being transferred, they usually wananuna. They usually wananuna. As I said elsewhere, but I'll repeat here very quickly, is that some of these people, 90% of the people who go there do not go there on disciplinary grounds. There's even a question. There was a contact in Samburu whereby a lot of APs who are from college were killed. I have discussed that. The reason why they were killed is that they are seniors in Samburu. You know, in every location, we have clans, or sub-tribes, or even tribes which are in those regions. Now, when you are going for an operation with home guards or national police reservists, you should mix. You should mix the people. Like, let's say you are in Dagoretti. Dagoretti, let us assume Dagoretti has various clans. We have a clan that is called Kangembi. We have a clan that is called Kabete. We have a clan called Kawangware. And we have a clan called Kabiria. Now, when you are going for an operation and you need reinforcement from police reservists, how many do you want? Let's say you take 20 from Kabete clan or sub-tribe. You take the same number from Kangemi group, from Kawangware group, from Kabiria group. Now, when you are going to have an operation in Kabiria area and Kawangware area, and you don't take reservists from those two sub-tribes. You take reservists from Kangemi and Kabete. The other two sub-tribes will think that you are siding with the other sub-tribes. And so that is how they organized for the ambush. If they would have included reservists from these other two clans, for example, if they would have included the two clans that they did not include, and there was to be an ambush, these reservists from these clans would have told them. But they participated actively and saying that the government is out to finish us. That is also the case with Wagala massacre. You see, it was targeted at one sub-tribe, Degodia. It was targeted on Degodias alone, and all other sub-tribes, Ajuran, Gare, what do you call? There are so many. They were not targeted. So anything that is done where you either use one clan alone or use all clans but don't use a particular clan, it brings a lot of problems. If you are OCS, OCPD, county police commander, or even regional police commander, when you're organizing for something and you need reinforcement from police reservists, mix them with people from all affected tribes, sub-tribes, and even clans. Otherwise, those are how it is. So it is always good for most of the people who are going in those areas be new. Another thing of wanting people to be new, you find that a person like HIRAM Kimathi, maybe his kid is at a school like Lepik or Makini. His wife, maybe he took 2 to 3 loans and opened a saloon for his wife and whatever. Now telling him to go to the forest and stay there is a problem. But recruits, they don't have a family. By family, I mean they don't have wives, they don't have husbands, and they are young. You know, young physically. Physically, they are active and they can do that. And then we also have people, for example, if you get a promotion to head a section, to head a station, to head a division, to head a county or even a region, it is always good for you to start in those areas where activities are less so that you get used to that. It is bad for you to be made an OCS for the first time and be taken to a place like Kamukunji. Be taken to those distant stations so that you know how to feel all these other particulars. So that when you are taken to a busy station, an urban station, you are used to. So all those people who go there, they go there under different terms of services. Thank you.